You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dinny Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Hey, what's going up, guys? I'm your host, Denny Mussolini, and there are over 20,000 of you guys on the line with us today for this interview. But I just want to ask you guys, why do children climb up slides? If you've ever spent much time at a playground, you've seen that small children love to slide down slides, and that they also love to climb up them. Playground slides are not designed to climb. They are steep, slippery, and have no hold or no handholds. And that is precisely the attraction for little ones to challenge. So we're all born with the desire to seek out and overcome challenges. For the better part of human history, it's what has kept people alive. And it has led to a steadily continued increase in our standard of living. Challenges can teach, inspire, and help us to grow, and overcoming challenges bring a sense of accomplishment to confidence to face even greater challenges. Sometimes, though, we get so caught up in security and comfort that we're reluctant to take on challenges. But such complacency is at least, and probably at best, boring, and over time can erode the essence of life. Challenges are a key part of childhood. Children learn to overcome obstacles on a daily basis to be able to walk, communicate, eat, and socialize. In fact, you could say that challenge is the essence of youth. If you think of yourself as old, then you're probably not experiencing enough challenge. And if you want to always stay young, never stop seeking new challenges. Take that from me, Denny Mussolini. That is my word, and word is bond.
You're live in the mix. Let's get this started.
Yo, it feels so good to be back with you guys once again. So one time for my people who are indigos and starseeds, and 2 times for my people who are vegans. We are averaging over 34,000 plus listeners, and we've been at this for 3 solid years. I appreciate all you guys who've been rocking with the kid on this journey, and we're still growing, baby. It is all because of you, most definitely. We are the people who have dedicated their lives to music, spirituality, business, literature, art, movies, and research in every aspect. And we want to allow you an opportunity to tell your story. Man, we've had celebrities on the show, from Grammy Award-winning artists, nominees, to actors, comedians, CEOs, technology geniuses, visual artists, from authors to professors, and aliens. Or people who think they're aliens. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Come on our show and talk to me. So check it out. To book an interview or just to share a real cool story, email me at theradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. I'm passionate about what I do, just as passionate about what you do, and together, yes, together, we can get your voice heard by the people who should hear it. So let's create something incredible. And with that, hello out there, and welcome to another episode of our podcast, Vigilantes Radio. Thank you again, as always, for tuning in and being a part of our audience family. You know the number to dial. It's 701-801-9813 to connect with us or our guests, or you can hop in the mix directly from my website, which is onlyonemediagroup.com. Scroll over to the Vigilantes Radio tab and slap that go live button, and you'll be right here live in the mix with all of us or in the chat room. So feel free to shoot over some questions to ask our guests while they are here. And as always, all episodes are available for free download. You can grab that from Spreaker.com/only1mediagroup, iTunes, YouTube, the app called Podcast Addict, or over at our website. And that goes for every single episode that we've ever aired.
Well, I don't want to keep 20,000 of you guys waiting any longer, so let's go ahead and dive deep into this interview, shall we? Oh, yeah. All right, so we are the people, of course, who have dedicated. Animal rescues are usually a private organization or a private endeavor which takes in certain animals, mostly pet animals or companion animals only. There are rare occasions where it's just a particular breed. Sometimes these breeds come from abusive homes or homeless situations. What an animal rescue does is to provide the animal a temporary home through a network of animal foster parents who agree to host the animal until it is adopted. This can be for the duration of the stay of the animal, if the animal maybe have health or behavior problems, or for the duration of treatment if the animal is ill or in need of veterinarian help. An animal rescue can also be focused on one or two types of animals only. Some are breed and age specific, which is a good thing because this means that the people who are fostering the animals really have a passion for that breed or that age of the animal the rescues focus on. And generally speaking, animal rescues run on a pure donation and goodwill of animal lovers. It is very rare for an animal rescue to receive any help or funding from the government. So, of the Canadian TV series called Super-Drycleaners. So let's go ahead and bring them on. All right, hey guys, you're now live in the mix with all of us. How are you doing? How are you feeling? And how's it going?
Hi.
Doing great.
Good.
Thanks for having us on the show, Demetrius.
Oh, no problem at all. So, how's the weather in Canada right now?
Cold.
It's a little chilly.
Yeah.
No snow yet, though.
No snow. Well, that's a good thing, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, the weather here in South United States, I'm here in Mississippi right now, it's kind of bipolar. One day it's chilly, next day it's hot, next day it's raining. So I don't know what's going on with our weather here, but yeah, it's like I have to keep a coat, a sweater, and a t-shirt in the car. You never know what's going to happen. Not to confuse the listeners out there, because there are 4 voices on the line today. So it's kind of like we're just going to interview each and every one of you one by one. How is that?
Sounds good.
Great.
Sounds great.
Now, if one of you guys have something to add to a question, feel free to chime in. You can talk over me. I promise I won't hang up on you. So, it's like old 5 friends, just chatting about movies and TV stuff and other stuff that people like to hear about, like writing and directing and producing. And actually, Barb, I actually got a question right now from Google Hangouts. It's from Ashley. She wants to know, what exactly is a producer and what is the difference between a producer and executive producer?
I wish somebody would tell me. No, I'm just joking. But in the independent world that I'm involved in, mainly the producer is kind of the person who works with pulling everything together, getting the show up and running, whether it's a film or a series. You bring all of the crew together and hire everybody, who then hires the other people that are involved. You give some creative direction and work with the director, and basically you are the one who makes the show go from start to finish. An executive producer, and this varies between, there's differences between film world, independent world, television, but typically an executive producer is often a little more hands-off in the day-to-day production. They can be involved in the creative at the highest level, coming up with the concept. Often they are the ones putting up the money or finding the funds to make the program. So that's, in a nutshell, kind of my understanding, but there is a lot of variation from community to community, as well as from whether it's, like I said, a feature film or a short film or a television. Television has a much broader range of like co-executive producers and showrunners and all these different terms, which can vary depending on the size of the show. So
awesome.
Does that kind of answer it, sort of, in a roundabout way?
I hope so. Thank you, Ashley, for the question, by the way. I may have to hire you as a writer, for the show. Who knows? All right. So, Barb, you're the brainchild of this new series. There's 3 episodes right now on the web. And there's 3 more to come, hopefully, right?
We're hoping. We're actually aiming for 10 more to come. But
10 more to come. Awesome.
A whole
Cool.
13 episodes is what we're shooting for. But right now we're focusing on these next 3, yes.
Cool deal. So tell us about how the concept of Super Dry Cleaners came to be.
Yeah, there's a couple of places. I guess the inspiration came from a few things. For me, it was there's a Warren Zevon song that I was listening to over and over many times, Werewolves of London, and there's a line in it that says, "I'd like to meet his tailor," and it just got me thinking about, kind of all those people that do the stuff behind the scenes. You see a little bit of that in like the shows like The Incredibles, where they've got the dry cleaners as well. And then there's a Seinfeld episode I remember seeing where one of the characters had brought their clothes to the dry cleaner, and then they thought they saw the dry cleaner's wife out wearing the clothes out in public, and so then they had trying to catch her in that. And so I was like, well, what would it be like from the dry cleaner's point of view, and why would somebody take something out? And what if what if they were like superhero kind of costumes? So it kind of just got me thinking about that. But the underlying kind of thing was about, I guess, trying on identities. And I have two boys, a 15-year-old and a 11-year-old, and over the years I've watched them kind of try different identities on, and trying on different words, and watching them. One day they're the comedian, and then the next day they're the they're going to be the jock, and the next day they're into something else. And there's just that process we all as humans go through, trying to figure out who we are. And a lot of that happens in our adolescent years. I'm far removed from teenage years, but not that far. But but I still go through it, and it's just that. Kind of finding ourselves an identity, and kind of what would it be like to be able to try an identity on and then take it off again, in that process of figuring out who you are and who you want to be in the world. So these 2 kids, Sky and Adam, Adam's the actor, Kyle, work in their grandmother's dry cleaner, who in this world happens to be the dry cleaner to superheroes, and so they get access to all these costumes at night, and they have aspirations to be superheroes and crime fighters, and so they start taking them out at night, and they start doing some training and trying to figure out who they want to be, and along the way they're bestowed some powers to actually absorb the powers of each costume that they wear. And so they're trying on, well, let's fly tonight, let's we can shoot power rays this day, and we can turn into water here, and so they're just trying to figure out in a way who they are, and with that kind of power, the underlying, often you've heard the expression, comes great responsibility. So they're trying to learn what that all means for them and who they are, and we'll kind of see their journey of, do they become the people they think they were or thought they were or who they hope to be, or do they become something else?
Right. If Bruce Wayne dropped off his Batman costume, who wouldn't want to be Batman for a day?
Absolutely,
exactly.
Yeah.
I would definitely wear the costume. Yeah. All right, so actually you wear a lot of hats, Barb. You're into photography, you're a director, producer, writer as well. And you're the director for Super Dry Cleaners. How long did it actually take to film the 3 episodes?
The actual filming, like from going to camera to ending, was about 20 days. And they were very long days. I'm sure Adam and Skylar can attest to this.
Oh, yeah.
16. There was one day we did have a 16-hour day. So
wow.
It's a lot of time for those 3 half-hour episodes. So But then we had some pickup days here and there. But the actual entire process from start to finish took over a year.
Jeez. Wow. That is quite some time.
Yeah. It's a new appreciation for, all those videos people make and all these other, content creators, how much effort goes into actually getting something on screen, or, audio or whatever it is, their art. It's just, there's a lot that goes into it and a lot of other people involved. But it's great. It's great to be able to see it come to life in the end.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And did you choose all of the locations for the shots?
I had help. I had a crew of other producers and a production coordinator, and so I kind of had some idea working with Brandon and from the script what the locations would be like, and then we just kind of went out and tried to find those. Some of them I kind of found myself just driving around town, and I'm like, that would be a perfect place for that. And then other ones came to us through the other producers and production coordinators would go out and scout some of those locations.
Definitely. So, Barb, I'm an artist, so when I'm in the studio and I, lay down my records and it comes back from post-production and I listen to them for the first time, it always gives me those butterfly feelings. What about for you after seeing your production happen and it's there for you to watch for the first time? How does it make you feel?
Yeah, it's pretty, well, for me it's kind of nerve-wracking, to be honest. I mean, it was hard because I was actually in the editing room every single day, so I saw it through all its iterations, so it was really seeing it, though, completed, and I guess the first time I would consider that I sat down and watched it all finished was when I had my family view it with me, and we watched it on our television. And so I sat and I watched it, and I'm like sitting looking at their reactions. Are they laughing when I think they should laugh? Are they, do they look bored? Are they getting it? Are they the right, did I hit those things off that I thought I would wanted to do? But when I sat and I listened to it and watched them and saw that experience, it's like, wow, look what we just did. Did I just do that? Did we just do that?
Absolutely. If I could add super quickly from that actor's perspective too, like doing the production and then like the first time that we really got to see all of it in its full completion was at the premiere. And so it was, I think, like Skylar can agree, it's really hard to watch yourself because we're all really critical of ourselves, and so it's definitely difficult to watch ourselves, but I think we were all really proud of all the stuff that we did and all the great work.
Definitely.
Yeah, that brings me to another question that I want to ask all of you. Like, from a perfectionist point of view, how often are you wrestling with yourself about, oh, I should have did that, or hey, I should have did this. Hey, can we add this in there? When you're watching these things come back to you, how hard is it for you to fight those temptations to change it?
The whole time.
It's constant. It's constant for me. I watch it and I'm like, oh, why didn't we do that? Or why didn't I have that idea? Or I wish we could have did that. But you kind of have to let it go, move on to the next part, and just make the next thing better.
Yeah, even I think one of the greatest aspects of performing is getting to make a performance your own, right? And so just kind of making our own kind of little decisions on set, even just when we were filming, me and Skylar would do about 30 seconds, 10 lines of improv before every scene, just to kind of get into the character, and some of that stuff even made it into the final cut of the show. And so it's really good stuff, just kind of being in character and kind of making those unique choices and stuff like that is super fun to play around with.
I agree.
Yeah, and as a writer, when I watch it, all I see is just how I could have written that line better, or that part's too long or too short. You can't help it. I'm still happy with the way it turned out, but I'm hoping that, that'll kind of help me in the future now that I kind of see it up on screen. And you'll see how the actors deliver the dialogue. I'll know now how I can kind of mold it to make the next ones even better, I hope.
Well, I think we're all super proud of course, what we accomplished. But of course, as with the kind of field that we're in, we're always going to be hard on ourselves. We always know that we can push ourselves to do better. But the kind of thing that our producer, Tim Hayden, told me was that you make a mistake or you do something a certain way, you think about it, you remember it for next time, and then you let it go. Because the more that you let it linger and kind of eat you up, you're not going to do as well, in my opinion. So you got to let go, and that was the best part of filming, was that it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So it could have been stressful at times, but it was a lot of fun.
Definitely. Cool deal. So tell us, Barb, how do you create and imagine the characters that you create, and what it's like seeing your ideas come to life through others' acting and art abilities?
Yeah, I mean, the creating, it's kind of a tough one. I mean, they kind of just, sometimes I see something or they come to me. I mean, in this case, I mean, I had an idea, brother and sister, and I kind of knew what age I wanted them to be, but I hadn't really fully visualized them. And so going through a process with Brandon, he was really the one that brought those characters to life for me and gave them a voice and gave them their life, basically. And then from there, after I kind of like start to visualize, like once I hear them talking in the script, I'm like, okay, she's kind of like this, Sky is like this, and Kyle does this, and I think he's, you know, you start to shape them and mold them a little, and then some of the villains and the other superheroes, it's kind of, okay, I'm thinking this, and you know, like for Pirouette, Brandon had originally named her, I can't remember, ballet dancer. I can't remember. Brandon can answer that question, but as we're talking about it, it's like he was talking what he thought her superpower would be, and I'm like, it's like she's pirouetting, and I'm like, that's a perfect name for her. And so once you have that kind of, you know, giving a name to something, I kind of find it's all the other pieces just kind of start to fall into place, and then I just seek out other people who can, like the artists did some drawings up, and so I worked with a comic book artist, illustrator, to draw out some of the characters. And so, yeah, it's kind of, I mean, taking little bits from here and there, and then really working with Brandon to kind of pull all that together, and then seeing them come to life. That's when it's amazing how, like Adam already mentioned there, watching or how he kind of they each added little bits in their own interpretations of what the character's personality, or in the case like Skylar she felt that Sky had anxiety. And so she kind of worked that into it, and then you could see that coming to life. And just to see something that was this words on a page is suddenly now a real person. It's very satisfying, I guess. So yeah, it just keeps and then moves me forward to want to create more for their world and for them. So.
All right, awesome. All right, Adam, I have a question for you from Google Hangouts from a guy named Brent. But before I ask you his question, I got to set up the question, I guess, just to get, what he means. All right. You ever seen the movie Showtime with Robert De Niro and Eddie Murphy?
I have not.
You have not? Oh, man, you're missing it. You're missing it. But no. All right. So Showtime is a movie about two cops, and the camera is always on them. It's like a reality show, a cop's version of a reality show. But Eddie Murphy is always acting like the camera is always on him, even when it's not. So the question from Brent is, how much acting do you do in your normal life?
I mean, I think that, in terms of just kind of like, I don't know, like how much acting in my real life? This is a hard question. Like, I spend a lot of time, working with, like, actual scripts, but, like, in terms of acting, I think that all of us have a kind of, like, image that we want other people to think of us, and so I think that all of us kind of even sometimes make choices that are not true to, like, our own beliefs in our real lives, and I would kind of count that, like, as acting, kind of just, sometimes we pretend to be someone else, for any reason, really, and so definitely a little bit of that, just creating that image of how you want to be perceived by other people.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, thanks for the question, Brent. I may need to hire you as a writer for this show as well. All right, Adam, so tell us about your collaboration with your co-stars, Skylar-Radzion and Laurette Clow, if I said that correctly. How was it working with them in the series, Super-Drycleaners?
Yeah, it was super great to work with Skylar and Laurette because, Skylar brought this really great brother and sister kind of vibe and like great energy. Really, like we spent a lot of time together, pre-production and during filming, and so we really grew really close, and so we were able to have that kind of brother-sister bond. Like, I have a sister in real life, so she brought in a lot of really great aspects of just kind of like sibling banter and great energy. You know, she really was really like committed to the character, and always committed to the performance. So it was super great to work with Skylar. And for Lorette, she was just anyone who watches Super Dry Cleaners, Lorette is just such a great grandmother. She has such a great like natural energy. You know, she felt like my grandma. You know, and she really took the time to get to know us. And she's such a sweet lady, and she was just like, you know, she had a really good mysterious side as well. You know, like her kind of like grandma's kind of hiding stuff from us, and so she really played that up really nicely. You know, she was a really good grandma. She was super kind and had a really warm energy, you know, of that a grandma would have, you know, to her grandchildren. So yeah, it was super great working with both of them.
Cool deal. And you know, that was one of the things that I noticed when I watched a few of the episodes, was the brother and sister chemistry, the bond there. That was very noticeable. You say you spent a lot of time with Skylar. Going back to that, that seemed very, very natural. And you say you had a sister, correct?
Yes.
Is you and your real sister that close?
No, but there's definitely that kind of competitive, kind of always kind of snapping at each other and always kind of being a little bit kind of rude to each other, kind of like that kind of vibe, you know, just teasing and stuff like that is definitely real with my sister, but not as close as I played with Skylar, because we were like twins. Like, we've been together for like me and Sky, like Kyle and Sky, they've been together for like their whole lives. You know, they spend a lot of time together. They have like a lot of the same interests, and so they're super close.
Yeah.
I think the bickering and the fussing and the competing is all a part of the bond. I have a younger brother, a kid brother, and that's all we did was, bicker, fuss, argue. But when somebody came to pick on him, it was none of that. You know, it was nobody could do that to my brother but me.
Yeah.
I was very worried about that because I don't have siblings. So my mom and my uncle are very close, kind of like Kyle and Sky. So I had to ask her before. I'm like, how do I do this? Because I don't know what it's like. And as I was auditioning, he kind of explained it to me, and I kind of just of how I see them kind of bicker and argue with each other. And I think it was more so too, just immediately as Adam and I met and got into the audition room together, it just clicked instantly.
Yep.
So I think it just felt a lot easier, and I mean we were comfortable with making fun of each other in ways that I think people who've only known each other for less than 6 months wouldn't be comfortable with. So we just became very close very fast, and yeah.
Cool deal. Barb, who did the casting for Super Dry Cleaners?
It was there's a bunch of us. There was 5 of us were all involved in the casting. I mean, ultimately, I think myself and Kim Hayden, the other producer, made the final calls on it. But we auditioned over 85 people for the lead roles. So that's a lot for this kind of production. So
cool. Okay, so Adam, how did you get the notification about this audition, and what were your thoughts after you auditioned?
Well, my mom helps me out with finding acting jobs and stuff. She's so great. She helps me out a lot with that. So she found this, and she showed it to me, and I really wanted to audition for it because it's such a unique opportunity because the cast is so largely teenage aged kids, right? And so it's not very often that you get to work with a lot of other kids your age. So that was super exciting. And, I really like the character. I read about it, and who doesn't want to be a superhero, obviously, right? So that was definitely another thing that I definitely wanted to do it for. And so after my audition, always, again, going back to being critical, I felt like, I could have done a little bit better. But my audition was definitely really interesting because, I walked in and I chatted with Kim and Barb for a few minutes, and then well, not for like a few seconds, and then did my scene, and then as I went to walk out the door, there was a spider on the door, this huge spider, like right on the handle. So I reached out to get the handle, and I like jumped all the way across the room, and I don't know, I think that was like a really funny moment, because I was kind of like anxious, get out of the room because I was super nervous, and I just reached for the door, and that spider just totally scared me. So kind of brought some fun into the end of the audition for sure.
You're right, man. That's a crazy story, man. It's like, okay, I just did a audition, and, I'm real nervous, and now here comes a spider to add sauce to that nervousness. Wow. All right, so when I watch TV and movies, I'm not really watching the movie. I'm really just watching the characters and how the character is portrayed through the actor. So it's kind of my favorite thing to do. Let's chat about your character development through these episodes. How did you channel Kyle's reactions, his tones, and facial expressions?
Yeah, for sure. Kyle is definitely a fun-loving character. I think that's one of his greatest traits is that he loves fun. He's always the first one to crack the joke about any situation. He's really positive, and sometimes he doesn't see the seriousness of a situation, and but he's really positive, really fun. He's a lot like myself. You know what I mean? I love to have fun, and he's just a quintessential teenage boy. He's a great character. He likes to impress the girls at school. He has his own little group of friends, and he kind of lives in that world. So it's super great. And to make all of his tones and facial expressions, I had a lot of fun with that, because when we got the script, and especially with the superhero lines that we had to say, which were so wonderfully written. I love them so much, all of those lines, where we would be trying to come up with our catchphrase, right? And so I think I took like 20 to 30 minutes whenever we were about to shoot that scene, just by myself, wherever I could find somewhere that wasn't busy with people, and I would just kind of think about what kind of cheesy gesture or what kind of goofy way I could say that line. And so me and Skylar had a lot of fun coming up with goofy things to do for those lines. And once you get in character, all those kind of like the tones, the way that he says his lines, all of his intentions, if you do the character work, which we did a lot, we sat down and we did a lot of work discussing our characters, like how they feel about each other, how they work in that universe. And so once you kind of figure all that stuff out, all of those tones just kind of like slide right in and fit real nice. And sometimes, I won't even intend to say a line a particular way, and it'll just kind of come out that way. And I'll watch it after, because like a lot of times we watch the takes after we shot them, and I would just kind of go like, oh, that was really nice, like what I did, I didn't mean to do that, right? So kind of just once you get in character, things happen naturally.
Yeah, cool, man. It's like taking on a new identity and just living that part of the life, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we all don't know the details of Kyle's life, and I think it's very important that you do. Of course, like you say, you guys go through that while you're shooting. But what are your thoughts on playing a role of a character, and, of course, Kyle, for instance, to make him as real and as relatable as possible?
Right. I think that in any performance situation, to make a character likable and to make them relatable, you have to kind of show their weakness, right? So we touched on that in a few scenes, and it's really important to open up and show your vulnerability, which is what people watch. People watch film and theater and TV shows. They watch it to see like real things, real emotions, raw conversations happening that usually sometimes they wouldn't get to see. Like you get to see a family at their dinner table, you get to see a conversation between a brother and a sister before they go to bed, right? Stuff like that. That's really kind of gives you an insight into how these people live, and so that's definitely super interesting. Mm-hmm. But like, you just make them. I don't know how to make them. It's just I took a lot of Kyle's personality just from my own, right? Because I'm right about his age. I feel like I said earlier, I'm a lot like Kyle, just fun-loving and just kind of, when I can, I like to show off a little bit and joke with my friends. And so I think that's what just makes a character really real, just making them full, strengths and weaknesses.
Cool deal. All right, cool, man. So, Skylar.
Yes.
All right, I have a question for you from Google Hangouts. Their name is 222222. Wow. All right, yeah. Very unique. You don't see anybody walking around with that name. So they want to know, what is your ritual, like your daily ritual in acting?
In acting? Definitely I'll say coffee. Coffee is just for acting, like every set I go to before, just like kind of calms my, I don't have anxiety going into set, but it just kind of like, you know, gets me going for the day, gets me ready. I'd say my daily ritual was for super dry cleaners, especially getting up early, showering, going downstairs at like for the breakfast table and having some coffee and just reading my lines, and that's kind of how it was, listening to some music. And
I could add to that. Sorry, something really interesting about film that a lot of people don't kind of know about is that the call sheets for the scenes that we're going to shoot come out like the night before we shoot that stuff. So usually, you know, you've had a long day at set, you want to get right to bed when you get home, and then usually you don't really get a chance to look at that call sheet until the morning. So for me and for Skylar, our morning routine was especially learning our lines for that day, you know, trying to figure out what's going on, because we don't have much time to learn that stuff. So that was another thing that happens every morning.
And we didn't film it, like all of our scenes in order, and some people don't realize that as well, is that we can do, let's say, episode 3, scene 4, and then next scene is episode 1, scene 15. That kind of thing, all on and off throughout the whole day. So I think it helped us, like we knew our lines, but just, you know, rereading and going through it in the morning, it's like, all right, I got this, you know. But that's kind of our daily, it became more of a routine, I think, was immediately got home, went to bed, get up, shower, breakfast, coffee, lines, and then head out.
Man, that is some work. I used to think a long time ago that they'll give y'all like a 600-page book of lines that you have to memorize and then shoot the movie all in one day.
Oh, no, I don't think we had a book like that.
Yeah, I found out the truth later on in life.
Yeah, we would be cranky after like the last hour of the day.
All right, so, you know, I did my research, and, you know, you've been a part of a lot of projects and films in your catalog, and it seems like as soon as you learn how to act, you never stop creating. That is so, you know, impressive and incredible. There's so many roles out there for you, and you obviously have a complete passion to work as much as you can. So tell me about the actors and actresses that have influenced you in the film industry, and what your personal goals are.
Definitely, I would say my favorite actors, like my favorite actress growing up was Rachel McAdams. And it's definitely, like, I have to say Tom Cruise will always be my favorite actor. But I've grown to, like, as I'm watching more films and getting older, like, you know, Gal Gadot and Viola Davis is an incredible influence for me, Pompeo, and just these wonderful, strong women that really inspires me to be as strong and independent as they are in the film industry. Definitely my goals in acting, a big goal for me is to win an Oscar one day, which I think is a lot of actors' goals. But for me, I think my biggest thing is to be able to influence people in a good way and send out a loving message, and just be a good influence for younger people and be a voice for younger people. So that's a huge goal of mine. And I guess for my personal goals in acting would be to just keep working hard, because I'm still very insecure and I'm not as confident. And, you know, to grow into the actor I want to be, I look forward to learning new things and just keep growing. I want to always keep growing. I never want to stop.
Yeah. And just to add to that, the inspiration for acting, once you start acting and playing characters, I think that for me, just people on the street become so much more fascinating to me. Like, I love to go out and, like, I watch people, you know, people watching, and you see people, you see characters walking down the street. And it's really like once you've become a character, it gives you a really interesting insight on watching people, and it makes you a lot more aware of that.
Yeah, and their life, like you know, you are who you are. And it's always weird to think about how every other person in the world has their own story, has their own life, has their own personalities. And I guess I think for Adam as well, like that's one of our favorite things, is to be able to put on someone else's like pants for the day or for the month. And it's like, okay, I've stepped out of my own bubble to become this person for a whole month. And, you know, it grows you, like you grow as an actor, every single role that you play. You get to experience everybody else's life. So that's one of my favorite things.
Definitely. Yeah, and then going back, you know, you say your favorite actor was Tom Cruise. I have a funny Tom Cruise story. Now, I didn't meet him or anything like that, but I worked for this Grammy Award-winning artist, and I worked for him for a solid year being his business administration. Like, you can do anything on the web. It's booking shows, doing all kind of things. So for a solid year, I never met him face-to-face. But, you know, it came time for us to meet, and I met him. He was like, it's like, you're a black guy. I was like, well, not really. I woke up like this. He was like, no. He was like, no, serious. I thought you would look like Tom Cruise. I'm like, what? How did you get that? Do I sound like Tom Cruise? No, I don't think so. So for the entire day, I acted like I was Tom Cruise. I thought that was pretty neat.
See, there's your own acting experience. You can tell on the internet. No one will ever know.
Hey, I'm like Adam. I like to people watch, and then sometimes I imitate the people. I don't know. I'm weird like that, but
it's fun.
I don't know. It goes back to that whole Showtime thing, you know, where the cameras are always on you, but they're really not. They're just in my head. But that's another conversation. All right, so are you in this to be in the best genre of films? And what I mean by that, are you simply working without a conscious thought to what people or critics might think? Or are you just, you know, taking on roles that you feel are perfect for you? You know, you have some genres that will propel you to the top immediately because of, you know, the mainstream, but then you have those that are, you know, hard to, I don't know, get into.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, as a young woman, especially, like, I'm 19, so as soon as I turned 18, I started acting when I was 16. I wasn't getting any parts at 16. Like, there's the rare small roles, but no one really wanted to work with somebody who was underage, or if it was, someone who was supposed to be 16, but, you know, there's sex scenes or that kind of thing. If I'm being fully honest, being 18 has definitely opened up a whole new world for me, and I'm still nervous about parts that I could pick because I'm not ready to do that kind of thing yet. I'm not comfortable to do that kind of thing yet. So I and as who I am, I always be worried about what people think about me, and it's one thing I definitely would love to change. But I also just love acting, and I love meeting people and, you know, being a part of something, and it always makes me feel like I'm in the right place at the right time with whatever parts, you know, I'm playing or whatever I'm doing. And as I'm about to audition for it, I get like this kind of feeling, and I don't know if Adam gets it as well, where it's like, this is the right part, this is the right moment, this is the right time. And and of course there's always like parts that as actors we're like we want her in the future, and for me it's, you know, roles that are very emotionally challenging, because I feel like I do better in those kind of parts. It's very testing, but I just love acting and I love doing, you know, trying new parts, trying new roles.
Definitely. All right. What's your view on super-drycleaners from a comic view? We all know how hard it is to make teenagers laugh and be entertained for more than 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think, honestly, super-drycleaners, like, the comedy is kind of secondary. I think the relationship that Adam and I have, like, the bond, I think is already funny in itself. And like Adam was saying before, how we improv, like, right before our scenes, and they would like tape us. It's just very genuine, and I think a lot of the comedy that's involved with it just feels normal, and it feels right. So it's not, we're trying too hard, or we add these funny little things in, or like the times where I would smack Adam on the head. Yeah. Which a lot of the times wasn't written, but
40 takes in a row.
Cheap shots.
And every single time he would take it pretty well, and then it was usually like about the last take where he would be like, okay, that's it, are we done? That's the last take, we can't do it.
Definitely. And what are you the most proud about your character, Sky?
I am proud of her, about how caring and loving she is, as much as it seems that she's very overbearing and sometimes controlling. I feel like she's very misunderstood, and I'm proud of how strong she is, and I'm proud to be able to play somebody like that, because I feel misunderstood by some people a lot as well. Just like Sky, I have a very strong personality, and it can come off as kind of wrong to some people. People can interpret it differently. But I'm just proud of her for taking on kind of a mother role and, caring about the people around her. All she really wants is for the best of people.
Yeah. To me, Sky was definitely a determined character. Mm-hmm. Very
passionate. And that's another thing I look up to her for, is that I'm very passionate in my career, and we're different in the sense that, yes, she's passionate on becoming a superhero that can change the world, but we're both similar in the sense that we have a path that we know that we're on, and we want to get to the end of that.
Yeah. How would Sky change the world?
Sky would change the world for it to be very eco-friendly. She'd want a lot. I think she'd want a lot more, like, I think she'd definitely want, more strong women involved, and more stronger, like, characters, more superheroes. She'd want to change the world to be a better place. That's all she wants.
Definitely.
She wants people who truly want to make a difference in the world surrounding her.
All right. And tell us about the greatest adventure for Sky and Cal. What would that be on an episode of Super Dry Cleaners?
I think, selfish-wise, for the twins would be the episode where we're allowed to fly, like, where they can, like, finally have flying. Like, I'm so excited for that. Like, I want that so bad. Be able to fly. I think, smart-wise, and Sky to be, like, more smart would be a great adventure for her, is for them to finally actually beat up a supervillain properly.
Yep.
Because they think that they did so well, although let's get real, they didn't do that well. But I think that's going to be like one of their great adventures. Is
the adventure where Kyle finally gets Lindsay, maybe one of those. Kyle finally gets the girl. And I think Sky for finally trying to finally beating Tracy, so she stops bothering her so much.
What about you, Barb? What would be the greatest adventure for Sky and Cal?
I think just seeing what they both said. I mean, having them do something really. It'd be fun to just have a big battle. I'm looking at it from a directing point of view and a writing point of view. I'd love to be able to just have this big scene of them, like, having that big battle where they overcome both themselves and the people around them. I think being able to, go out and just have fun at something, but also just do powerful things, or, like to fly. I'd like to be able to show them flying, to be able to, lift that, fly over that tile building, lift up that, the Superman stuff, But at the same time, it'd be fun to do something like a great adventure where, I don't want to give too much away for next up, but, there's some stuff that might go into, they don't always stay on the superhero side. Maybe they go and try on some supervillain side, and see what that looks like for them, and to go on an adventure of seeing what it's like to try, just being, the bad guy for the day.
Yeah. I'm almost afraid to ask Brandon this question because he's the comic guy. He's seen it all, read it all, created it all. But how about it, Brandon?
Can you repeat the question, sorry?
Yeah, what would be the greatest adventure for Sky and Cal to you?
I'm thinking, this is kind of looking way, way ahead, but I almost kind of want to see him do almost go off planet or to another dimension or something. Something where we really kind of push the limits of what they could do. Because right now we're kind of dealing with a lot of more quote normal things, like the high school stuff. So to have them kind of going Avengers style, where they're kind of dealing with insanely huge, alien invasion type things, I think that'd be really cool to see. But that's a long way down the road.
Yeah. All right, you guys will have to forgive me. I was just trying to get a spoiler out of you, ratings and all. All right, Brandon. So you guys didn't really know this, but when he stands next to water, he's actually Aquaman. That's only between us 5 and the 2,000 of you guys who are on the line. You can't leave this line. All right, Brandon. So I simply want to know the why, the what. Why did you choose writing over everything else?
Well, the main thing I like about writing is because you're kind of in there at the very bottom of a project. I like being able to just come up with an idea and bring it to life. Actors, and the crew and other people, they come on board later once there's been some progress. But my favorite part is just kind of coming up with the idea and writing it down. Kind of that very first step. For super-drycleaners, it was Barb who came up with the original idea, and I wrote the script for it. But I was still involved in the very, very early stages. So I kind of like to see that, just kind of be there for the whole process of creating this thing, and then watching it as people come on board and it comes to life.
Definitely. You ever watched the show Better Call Saul?
I'm aware of it. I watched Breaking Bad. I haven't watched Better Call Saul.
All right. So Breaking Bad, right? There's Better Call Saul, or Saul Goodman, who's played by Bob Odenkirk. Now, Bob Odenkirk is also a writer of a lot of stuff we didn't know he wrote. But he's really not that famous in those terms. Except, everybody in Hollywood knows that he's a writer for Saturday Night Live, the Conan show, a lot of late night shows. Now, speaking of that, would you rather have the fame or the credits?
Credits, yeah. I'm definitely not in this for the fame. I want recognition for what I do, obviously, but kind of from my peers. But I never want to be recognized in public or all that type of stuff. That's it's not me. It's not what motivates me. So I'm quite happy just being confident with the stuff I'm getting out there and kind of being respected within the industry. But I don't want I'm not in it for all the fame, definitely.
All right. So character development is the key element that all writers share. A non-fictional writer has to make sure they understand the character in which they are writing about. They have to know that person's likes, dislikes, background, history, friends, enemies, family tree, stuff like that. A fictional writer needs to know all these things to make their character believable, as we already discussed. You don't want to have a story filled with cliche characters. So how did you create a unique yet believable character from Barb's inspirations?
It's actually an interesting question because I kind of take a different approach, I think, than a lot of writers. Because the way you're supposed to do it, you're supposed to have detailed character background before you even start writing the script. And I remember even when I was in college and we had to do kind of screenwriting things, and I'd always kind of get in trouble or get bad marks on that because my character developments, I just hated doing it and I didn't put a lot of effort into it. Because I see the actors are going to bring so much to it, and what they bring to it might be different than what I'd envisioned. So it kind of seems like it would just be constraining them if I wrote this whole background of their life and they had to play the character a certain way. So I really don't do very much character development before I start writing. I like to just have a couple things about the character, and then I just work hard at giving them a different voice and giving them cool things to say and do. And then as soon as the actors come on board, they breathe so much life into it that the character's kind of born from there. I remember even at the super-drycleaners premiere, talking to Skylar, she had a lot of kind of insights into her character that I'd really never thought of. And if I had kind of, from the beginning, like had more detail the way she had to play it, it would have like just kind of killed that part of the character, where just giving like her and Adam the chance to play it their own way makes it a much more interesting character. But at the same time, like I do have to make sure they have a unique voice, so they're, all the characters don't sound the same. And I think I'm doing pretty good at that, but I think it's not like the writer's job to just decide what the character is and someone else has to play it. There's so many other people, even the director can have insights into the character. I think it's a much better way of doing it. You get way better characters out of it.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean. And like a writer's supposed to show a character's rise or demise, right?
Well, what do you mean?
Like their growth. They're either supposed to grow or, go the opposite.
Oh yeah, I guess, yeah, like their character arc. Yeah, you kind of work the character arc into it. It's a little bit different in a TV series. Like in a movie, you have, an hour and a half to have a character arc, whereas here the arc, could end up lasting for like 8 years, depending on how long this series goes on for. So it's kind of a thing that I like Barb and I kind of have a plan of where it's going to go, but there's so many different directions within that arc that the story can go. So I kind of like just to let the story unfold as it is, and the character arc will develop naturally.
I actually have a question from Google Hangouts for you. It's from Spun48. He said that I think it's a he, I don't know, it could be a she. Let's just say Spawn. Spawn wants to know. Well, he actually said he wants to be a writer, and he wants to know how you got started.
That's a great question. Like, actually, I love helping out like new aspiring writers, because I was one not too long ago. Even it was only about 4 years ago where I really started taking it seriously to try to do it as a job. And I listened to a podcast called Selling Your Screenplay, and it's hosted by a guy I'm now buddies with named Ashley Scott Myers. And when I was kind of first starting one of his episodes, he said, like at one time I was just a guy like you, and he's like, if you're a pretty decent writer, you have a good chance of getting a movie made. And I had never had even a short script made before, but I was like, you know what? Like if this guy can do it, I can do it too. And now 4 years later, I've had quite a few movies made now. Yeah. So now I'm like, hey, I'm in that same position Ashley was in, where I can tell other people the same thing. It's like, if I can do it, you can do it. So Spawn 42, yeah, if you just practice and get good at writing, just search the internet for anyone looking for a script. Even just write like a 5-page short script, and just find a producer that's looking to make something, and just get it made, even if you don't give it away for free. And as soon as you have one person that made a movie based on your script, then you can tell all the other producers that had a movie made based on your script, and it kind of gives you a bit more credibility. And then do the same thing with a second and a third, and then just keep pushing it that way like I did. And next thing you know, people will start paying you for your scripts, and then they'll start paying you more for your scripts, and you can just build your career that way.
Definitely. And Spawn, I watched it somewhat happen. I don't know Brandon's full background, but I met him off of Craigslist. At the time, he was building his comic book publishing company and putting out comic books. And then I watched him do a movie, watched him do this TV series. And it's incredible to see, somebody who started from the bottom and build their career based on what they want to do. And all it takes, right, Brandon, is a step in that direction. That's all it takes, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's even Adam Storrs Chuck, he's the other half of Higher Universe Comics. We were just talking earlier today about Demetrius and how he was the very first person who ever bought one of our comics online. Because we were just like, we were nothing. We just started out. We had no idea what we were doing. And we just put, whatever we put up on, Craigslist, just reaching out to meet people. And then someone, paid $1.99 to download one of our comics. It was Misfits #1, and it was Demetrius. And then we got a hold of him, and next thing you know, we were on his show, and we had one comic book out. Now we have many comic books and all sorts of other things. And the time goes by quickly, and it is. Thanks for bringing that up. It's amazing how far we've all come.
Oh yeah, definitely inspiring. All right, man. So aside from being the publisher and writer of the Higher Universe comics, what really makes you or made you want to take on the super-drycleaners project, and how surprised were you when the script won a free shoot from Telus Optic?
Well, obviously when Barb pitched me the idea, it was just instantly, I loved it. Because one thing too with the superhero comics, it's hard to there's only a limited number of characters you can have. Yeah. Whereas this story, it gets perfect for just unlimited characters. Each episode, they can be a different character with a different superpower. So there's so many more cool possibilities to explore, and each one can have a separate villain. There's so many, in the high school stuff too. There's just so many stories you could explore within that world. And I always tell everyone, I have this insanely huge list of thousands of kind of character names and concepts that I have. So all I got to do is consult this list, find a cool name that hits me, turn that into a character, and they're in the show. And that's kind of where Komodo Dragon and Demolition and all those characters from the TV show came from. And so I just like being able to come up with ridiculous characters and just kind of get them in the show. It's such a fun premise that I would have been foolish not to take it on. And as for actually winning the money, I was very, very surprised. Barb told me that she was going to enter it into the Telus Optic contest. I didn't think much of it. I didn't, it's not like we didn't have a chance of winning, but I'd kind of forgotten about it. So when she emailed me to say that we'd won, I was quite shocked because it all of a sudden went from, just a bunch of scripts we had that, for all intents and purposes could have just stayed on the shelf forever and not gone anywhere. And all of a sudden it became real. All of a sudden they're giving us money and this is going to become a real TV series. And as soon as that happens, you kind of look at it differently. With a script, it's words on paper, it's interesting. As soon as it's we have to film this and put it on TV, all of a sudden you look at it in a completely different way, and it's it's a little bit kind of nerve-wracking because now also people are going to be judging your work. Before it was just Barb read the script and that was it. Now it's hundreds of people are going to be reading the script, and then thousands or millions hopefully are going to be watching it on TV. So all of a sudden it's a whole different ball game.
Man, I would say. All right, guys. Brandon, Barb, Adam, and Skylar, I want to thank you guys once again for being a part of what we do here at Vigilantes Radio, for the time and effort put into these answers and understanding and decoding all of my rambling, because that's just my style of interview, but for the privilege of being able to learn about you and your roles in this new series, Super-Drycleaners, through this interview. But with as much history and longevity as you guys have, I probably missed something that you guys may have wanted to say or talk about. So this is the old soapbox, or open floor, if you will, where you can say anything at all. The floor is yours.
Oh boy.
That's a lot of pressure.
I'm not sure. Oh, now like that whenever someone asks me oh no, I don't know.
I can talk about the superhero costumes and how those how it was like using those on set. I guess that's kind of something interesting to talk about, I guess.
Okay.
Those costumes were they were so like wonderfully made. There's beautiful costumes and they were so great, and we loved working with them. But like when we were on set and we were shooting, we had like a lot of problems with the costumes, especially like we were out there in the dark, because a lot of the scenes we were like staking out villains in the dark, and so it was cold out, and especially Skylar can talk about that because she was freezing like the whole shoot. But the costumes, we had a lot of problems with them, so it's kind of like an interesting thing that we all kind of like the entire set came together to help fix these costumes and get them working for when the camera started rolling. And you know.
Well,
it was
shout out to
super
Peter.
cool.
Peter did like all of it. Like he had so much stress on him, and he like found a way to make it work, but also make it like 10 times better. And he was just under so much pressure, but he like did it phenomenally. So he deserves like a round of applause. I guess I could also speak for the rest of the cast, because they're, you know, they couldn't all be here to talk at the same time, but you know, it was so wonderfully casted, like all of, you know, the friends and just everyone else, even like the super villains, just everyone did phenomenal. And we all just, every single time we got together, especially with the other kids who were around our own age, just clicked so fast. And it was just laugh, like of course professional laughter, but jokes on set, and just always supporting each other, checking in on each other, seeing if we needed anything. Like, just the support was incredible, and I think that was one of my favorite things about filming. And I have to say that a lot, because to meet people, especially your own age, because you never expect that with teenagers, because teenagers can be quite mean, that everyone was just so supportive and so nice. So I'm so forever grateful to be on a set just like that.
Absolutely, and it was such a great opportunity for all of the people who are, you know, young adults and teenagers that are, you know, wanting to get into acting. And it was such a great opportunity to be on set for all of us, and so we're super thankful for that opportunity.
Yeah, and exactly what Adam said before was how it's so difficult to find roles for, you know, 16 or even like 14 to 17, and it's pushing it. There's very limited roles, and this is actually the first or second like 16-year-old that I've played in like 3 years for Alberta. Like there hasn't been a lot of auditions, and I think we all wanted to, you know, get on that and be a part of that. So, you know, kudos to Barb and Kim for wanting actual teenagers. And I mean, I was 19, but I look like I'm 12, so I was like, yeah, I'm on that. And it was great. I guess the other thing I have to add as well is, for, like Barb talked about earlier about Sky's anxiety, I think even though it is a kids show, I suffer from anxiety as well, like very bad anxiety. And I have for like the longest time, ever since I was around Sky's age and a little bit younger. And at first I thought that I had asthma, and obviously that didn't do anything. But it was such a thing that it's like, oh, it's just hormones, and, you know, you'll get out of it, you'll grow out of it. And I still deal with it a lot of the time. And that's why I really wanted Sky to be going through this, to help younger people who are confused about, you know, what they're feeling or how they're feeling, and to show that it is okay, and hopefully to bring more awareness that it is, you know, it isn't just hormones that kids, you know, are suffering from, that there is a bigger problem sometimes.
Right.
And I think, you know, growing into her, I'm so excited to see if we, you know, if we get picked up and funding some more episodes, is how she's going to learn to deal with that and coping with it in a better way, and hopefully giving methods to kids, you know, how you can deal with it without getting into the habit or, you know, into the wrong path that you shouldn't be on. So I think it's a great thing.
All right. Any more last words?
I don't know. Thank you for having us on the show. It's
thank you.
Great to, you know, we're hoping obviously this show will kind of reach beyond Canada and kind of get into the States and worldwide. So we appreciate you kind of opening up a whole new market for us.
Oh, no problem at all.
That's what I was about to say. Thanks for having us on and letting us talk about the show. It's always fun to, you know, we all move on, and it's, you know, even though it just started airing in September, or end of September there, I mean, it's been, for some, like Brandon and Adam and Skylar, they've been away from it for quite a while, and so it's nice to come back to it and be able to talk about it with, talk about the show and the making of it and what goes into it. from a with a little bit of hindsight. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem at all. You got to do the campaign thing, to go around shaking other hands, kissing other babies.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah. All right, guys, you were wonderful. And
yo, this episode's music is brought to you by Teo with his single Same Page. To connect with him, click on the link in the description. I caught her off the gram, uncomfortable with my decision. And I ain't get no invite, DM with no permission. My life is love and laid out, Louis Chanel laid out. She said she know the struggle and poverty is played out. So give me recognition, I'm keying your ignition. Them other chicks don't move me, can't play me opposition. You listening to Breezy, I'm blumping classic Weezy. My Lamborghini's baby blue like I was young Jeezy. I'm yetted and I'm flavored, and all my keys is major. See, all my stress is minor, and all my clothes designer. Catch us on a Saturday in Aventura, poppin' tags, rolling up that 95, whipping in that brand new Jag. Shorty, it's like we writing on the same page. It's like we riding on the same wave. It's like we moving on the same vibe. You and me together, one same mind. It's like we writing on the same page. It's like we riding on the same wave. It's like we're moving on the same vibe. You and me together, one same mind. So when we play my song, hit that explicit version and never play yourself. My cloth authentic Persian. Ball made a new Margellas. You in Balenciagas. You never feeling jealous. I'm standing right beside you. Don't press me about them shorties. They're 9 and you a 40. That means you breaking scales. Just hold it down for me. Rose is on rotation. She love that 50 Cent. And when we get along, it's like it's heaven sent. Sometimes I play that Hova. She said she love Beyonce. Right now I'm feeling Riri, and you my new fiance. Rocking that new Versace and moving through the city. My fans they say they love me. My exes say they miss me. You say you love her when I feel me, cause I'm cavalier. Red carpet strolling on that crimson, we could take it there. Need to buy a crib in Calabasas over there by Dre. Sitting on my balcony, dining on red velvet cake. Seconds only fed with grass, you know I take care of my body. Play your cards right and you might wake up in a new Bugatti. And I know you got me, and you know I got you. No need to bear that weight, I'm here to spot you. Shorty, it's like we writing on the same page. It's like we riding on the same wave. It's like we moving on the same vibe. You and me together, one same mind. It's like we writing on the same page. It's like we riding on the same wave. It's like we moving on the same vibe. You and me together, one same mind. Chill. Now these shorties know, man. We out here riding. On my LL shit. Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab it from either Spreaker.com/Only One Media Group, iTunes, YouTube, the app called Podcast Addict, or our website, which is onlyonemediagroup.com, and that goes for every single show that we've ever aired. If you'd like to request music or send something for us to play, email it to theRadio@onlyonemediagroup.com. Here's my disclaimer. We are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay but facts alone. And actually, you can scratch all of that because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, something you gotta deal with. Nah, just kidding. On behalf of myself, Danny Mussolini, I appreciate you guys for tuning in either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word because sharing is caring. And also special thanks to our guests for joining us. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr. We are all over. Just connect with us and we do follow back. Okay, well, just remember to be yourself and be absolutely freaking great at just doing that. Peace.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.